So far at Summer Games Fest, there have been a lot of really good looking games announced. Unfortunately for the AAA industry, double A's and indies have dominated over the past couple of days, and it's looking pretty rough for the EAs and the Ubisofts of the industry. But we have seen a lot of butts. There have been a lot of very attractive fictional characters on our screen, and it seems that that has upset a lot of people. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, specifically at the Summer Games Fest opening, there was a lot of butts in teasers and trailers, and one company that really highlighted the women's best assets was Mundfish. They announced Atomic Hearts 2, they announced the Cube. I mean, there's a lot that they showed off, which looks really good, but the Cube is a brand new game that they are going to be putting out, which the concept of sounds pretty decent, but of course they are using attractive ladies to market this game, and oh my gosh, are people melting down over it, which I always think is so hilarious because as a woman myself, I would much rather see attractive fictional female characters than ugly whales. I just don't think that as a woman, putting the ugliest character you can with my gender on screen is really helpful to my gender. I don't expect to see normal in a video game where characters have wings and are flying around and are nuking each other and they're using jetpacks and all of these crazy things, right? I expect to see the peak of humanity, or if like they're robots, what would look like the peak of humanity. I expect athletic, I expect fit, I expect flexible. These are things that I don't think most people would disagree with and say, oh my gosh, this is terrible, but we're seeing some meltdowns, which of course I think is hilarious. So if you didn't hear about this game, this is a very quick description. You know what they said about buses: wait for one long enough and two will come at once. The same principle applies to Atomic Heart fans, who are not only getting a sequel, but a multiplayer spin-off called The Cube, an MMORPG shooter set after the events of Atomic Heart's 4th DLC. The Cube will stick players down on, you guessed it, a giant floating cube made up of rotating rows, which looked really cool because they're basically saying there might be a desert level, and then it would shift to a snow level, and then maybe like a nuclear fallout level. Like, there is so much possibility here. Now, of course, when I hear like MMORPG, I instantly think of Black Desert Online, World of Warcraft, Star Wars: The Old Republic, but I don't know how they're going to do this, though. I think that the concept sounds very interesting. If this will turn out to just be another like really generic shooter that happens to have a couple of cool abilities and maybe the decent cube rotation, we don't know if that will happen, but I think that they could do a lot with this, and a lot of other people really seem to agree, given both of these games were very positively received by actual gamers. Though, heading on over to the Cheap Ass Gamer post about this, which I think is funny that they're making it, they're showing off some of the screenshots of some of the ladies and some of the panty shots that are actually in this, some of the butt shots, and of course, there are some people here saying, I only see curves, this is so cool. Before time began, there was the cube, which is really funny. I remember when I saw it on screen, I was like, well, here comes the Borg. But, well, unfortunately, there are some people who are not particularly happy with this. More GoOnEr games, woo. I saw that everything was locked there. I just thought that I would point out the fact that apparently this person has blocked me, so they don't appreciate my takes on some of these very, very beautiful ladies. GoOnEr games, I don't think that just because there's a sexy lady in a game, that means it's a GoOnEr game. Trash, more trash, devs horny, AF, obvious, GoOnEr bait slop. So you're saying that any woman that is attractive is GoOnEr bait? Like, that is the mentality here. That's ridiculous. Here is the Atomic Hearts 2 trailer, or part of it. I definitely can't show all of it, but it's basically a robot strip club. there's a lot going on here. Here's another post asking, is this what gamers want in video games? And I don't think that every single video game has to feature the most attractive characters possible, but I generally think that characters should look pretty good. Unless it is a part of their story or a part of their world, why is it that you are so hellbent on adding ugly characters just to avoid the male gaze, which of course is a fictional concept, but we know that there are a lot of feminists in the industry and a lot of activists who want to erase anything that males could actually find enjoyable. There are people saying, though, plus good gameplay, which I hope you knew. Obviously, yeah, if the game doesn't have good gameplay, then it is absolutely screwed at release. But Atomic Heart's gameplay was really fantastic. It was a really fun game overall. I'm super hyped for the sequel, and I'm sure that this spin-off game isn't going to have massively different combat. I would assume it's going to be right up that same alley, so my expectations are pretty high. This is what Cyberpunk could have been. As soon as I saw this trailer, I was like, yeah, this is Cyberpunk. It's got it written all over it. Not necessarily what I wanted, but definitely something I appreciated. And of course, we also saw the First Descendant. The First Descendant's upcoming major content release breakthrough was announced, and you already know how they market their game. They market it in a very interesting way. And look, I've talked about the First Descendant a lot on this channel, and I did enjoy my time in the game. There just isn't enough content to keep people around. This is the type of title that, yes, when there is a major content update, I will go back to it. I will put some more time and effort into it. I will play it for maybe like a week or two, but they haven't updated the game quick enough with new characters and new maps and new guns and like new raids, just new content in general. So I feel that this game has fallen off quite a lot. It's still funny to see their marketing, and I still praise them for actually putting these attractive characters first, but I know if the First Descendant isn't a 10 out of 10 game, and I'm definitely not saying that it is, but you can count on people getting really upset at the First Descendant marketing because these are developers who are definitely not afraid to market to the GoOners of the world, which of course I think is ridiculous that, you know, you're called a GoOner simply for wanting attractive characters in your video games, unless you're the Access Media, but then you're allowed to be a GoOner all you want for the male characters. Oh, we can objectify them all we want, because apparently the female gaze isn't actually a thing. People are saying, though, too bad the game isn't that fun. Wasted potential by greedy manipulators. Take a hint from Marvel Rivals, respect your customers, and don't overcharge for BS. Yes, I do agree. Games that have incessant grinding and predatory microtransactions, I can still play them and have a little bit of fun, right? But you're not going to get me hooked on your game and playing long term, which is just really, really unfortunate that that's the direction that this game actually went in. But of course, this is getting praised by a lot of people because the developers do just really know how to make a game that people actually think looks good. Now, I did end up streaming the entire Summer Games Fest opening. You can go and watch that on the channel if you want my first genuine reactions to some of the announcements. I streamed the Sony one. I will be also streaming the Xbox event. The events so far have not been terrible, but AA is dominating. The AAA companies are not really showing up except for Capcom. They're the biggest that actually showed up and then announced, of course, Resident Evil 9, though Sega also announced a couple of decent looking things. Either way, AA is definitely dominating, and Mundfish is a AA studio, so I think that that's really cool. I will, of course, be keeping my eye on the talk on social media about these events and, of course, about these so-called quote-unquote GoOnEr games, but as you can see, there are quite a few people online that are triggered about all of the butts that were highlighted, and it will be interesting to see if any of them actually call for Summer Games Fest to not allow this type of content in the future. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.